Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Doveston and you are here with me for our monthly I Ching forecast, this time for May 2025. Our opportunity to tap into what is the I Ching asking us to pay attention to in this month as a theme for us to work with and contemplate and unpack in our lives. We always start by looking back. April 2025, we had Hexagram 14, possession of great measure, possession of greatness. That hexagram speaking of wealth and opportunity, recognizing what wealth means, overcoming our poverty consciousness, tapping into abundance consciousness, a couple of changing lines to really help us with that, and working with Hexagram 21, biting through, vigorously taking the action to overcome the things that are in our way, that are blocking the nourishment from going in. So no doubt you experienced both this upwelling of opportunity and insight around what you can do to increase your wealth, whether that's your networks, your wealth on a spiritual level, your financial wealth, those gold bars, and tackling obstacles with energy, finding a way of dealing with the issues that hold us back by taking vigorous action, punitive action sometimes, to lay down the law, put in place the boundary, take action and move on. And no doubt you felt that energy coming through at the tail end of April. Okay, so if there was anything that came up with you last month that made sense, that connected to what the I Ching was talking about, do share a comment. Okay, May 2025, let's get into it. Well, I think this is the first time ever, I'm not sure, but certainly in my memory it's the first time, a locked hexagram for our monthly overview. I know we had a locked hexagram for our annual Hexagram 11 peace. I'm not sure how peaceful our world is right now, but certainly peace is a key theme for the whole year. It was locked, but this month in May we have a locked hexagram. There are a couple of different ways to think about a locked hexagram. Sometimes when you're working with the I Ching and you're asking personal questions, a locked hexagram might challenge you to think differently around your question, reframe the question, look at it from a different point of view. So it's locked, it's fixed. In order to get the movement of the changing lines, we need to frame it differently. But this type of question, a locked hexagram, we don't need to worry about it. We work with it as it means, a doubling down and intensification of the energy of the month. We don't need a whole lot of stuff happening throughout the month. It's a very stable, focused energy for the whole month. So without further ado, let's get into what is that hexagram that is locked for the whole of May. It's Hexagram 20, Contemplation. Contemplation is a tower. If you look at the structure of the hexagram, you have two male lines at the top, right, and female lines down the side. It looks like it forms a tower. I always think it looks like the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. Okay, so that's a tower. And so we think about the tower, that when we climb up a tower, and let's keep the symbolism, you go to the top of the Eiffel Tower and you look down on Paris, and what you notice is that from the ground looks like a structure to the city that doesn't make sense. When you're up at the top and you look down and you see this kind of fanned out grid, this circular structure on kind of the segments of the city laid out and moving around you as you're standing on top of the Eiffel Tower, it makes sense. And so contemplation is the hexagram that speaks to having a bigger perspective. Okay, taking time out to climb up to the top of the tower and getting perspective, seeing the bigger picture. Perhaps as we work with contemplation in the whole of May, what it's trying to do is it's trying desperately to get us out of the massive amounts of detail that perhaps we're caught up in. And it speaks to encouraging us to have an eagle eye perspective, all right? Changing the lens from that little mouse scurrying on the ground to the eagle that can see the mouse but can also see the curvature of the earth and can see all these different things and how they fit together. So we change our lens, we change what we are paying attention to from the ground, from the detail, from what the mouse can see in their very narrow vision, and we are going up to the top of the tower to look at things from a bigger perspective. I would encourage you to think about, as you go through May, wherever you hit a situation where you feel like I just can't see the wood for the trees, I can't see my way out, I can't understand what this is all about, I'm confused. Whenever you're in a position where you don't have the clarity that you know inherently that you need in a situation, climb the tower. There's a huge chance that if you do, that if you take time out to have a bigger perspective and look down on the situation, you will see things in a new way. You'll see the path. You'll see the plan. And part of that is also about roping in the people around you, having a way of bringing this hexagram into your teams, into your strategic thinking. In this month, it's a brilliant time to review your strategy, to review your personal goals, okay, to review how your team is performing and where you are and where you want to go. Because this energy says when we take that time out to look at it anew, we look down the situation and we see it in a whole new perspective. We see how things are connected. That is the task for the month. Whenever you hit that problem, as I mentioned, whenever you hit that snag, whenever you hit that feeling of I don't know what's going on, I can't see my way through, I don't understand, say to yourself, say to your team, let's take a step back and keep the bigger picture in mind. Okay, that is going to be a strategy that's going to help us tap into something really important in this month. It's a locked hexagram, so it's saying every time you have this issue, go back to what's the bigger picture? What am I missing? What am I not seeing because I'm not thinking big enough? I'm not looking at the situation with a much bigger perspective. I'm trying to solve this little slice, right? I'm trying to solve this moment. But if I take a step back and I look at it from a bigger perspective, I see how this moment fits into the context. It changes the solution. It changes the way I think, the way I feel, the way I interact, the questions I ask. It changes everything. And that's what this hexagram is trying to bring to us. Now, the other aspect of this hexagram is that a tower on a hill, also a symbol of a tree on a hill, okay, is visible for miles around. Okay, the big tower on the hill can be seen in the next town. Okay, can be a beacon that others look towards. So not to put any pressure on, but part of this process is also recognizing how what you do and what you apply to your mind around what you're trying to do, your role, this bigger picture you're trying to create, is it creates a vision for others, it creates a beacon for others to learn from, to connect to anchor themselves to. So we have to realize that everything that we do, no matter what place in life you find yourself, your actions, your life, the results you're getting or not getting, your ability to handle conflict and stress and challenge, these become things that others look to learn from or learn what not to do. And we can be a real positive beacon, all right, of change for others. This is how you can do it. We did it. You can do it. Here's an image that can show you what is possible. Use this image. Okay. So the tower is both a tool for us to get perspective, but it's also an opportunity to be a beacon, a tower that shows others what good looks like. That shouldn't stop us from moving forward, the fear of what am I putting out there? We need to go and do good stuff, good work. We need to have the vision. We need to fulfill that vision. And by doing that, we build a tower. Because as we go, we build a tower that's taller and taller and taller. Right? We have a much bigger perspective. And at some point, the tower becomes so tall that we have an interstellar perspective, right? We see things in an even bigger perspective of how things fit together. Now, if you'd like to work a little bit more with this hexagram, Contemplation is one of the hexagrams that I've completed in the Hexagram Deep Dive series. So you're welcome to go and check it out. I'll try and put a link somewhere and go and have a look at working with this hexagram. A lot of what I've shared today is in there, and you'll find a perspective on how astronauts experience Earth when they go out into space, something called the overview effect, which I'm sure the astronauts who have recently returned from their very long sojourn in space can speak all about. The idea of when you've got that perspective and you've seen Earth in its entirety, your entire philosophy, your worldview changes, because you see how futile war is, how futile conflict is, and how important it is to look after our beautiful planet. So when you work with this hexagram this month, it's short and sweet. We need to climb the tower. Anytime there's a problem, climb the tower. When you think as you're going throughout your month, whenever you are not sure what to do, climb the tower. What can I do to get a bigger perspective? How can I remove myself from the situation and look down on the world in a new way? And what might even help you is doing that physically. If you're in a city or a town where you have something you can climb to get an elevated perspective, you look down on your own city, your own town from a hill or from some kind of vantage point, and you see things anew. Let that energy be with you as you climb the tower and you have a strategic perspective on your life, on your team, on your business, on your endeavors, that you keep in mind the bigger picture and how we can work towards fulfilling that through our love and our work and our effort and our energy. Thank you so much for being here with me. Have a wonderful May. We'll reconnect soon on how you're experiencing May when we flop into June. And next up, we'll get cracking with the weekly overviews for the month of May. Until then, like and thumbs up if you enjoyed this episode. As usual, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the follow button if you're new. And I look forward to engaging with you very soon for those weeklies. Until then, take care.